Hey friends, what's going on? Kevin O'Shaughnessy here, and I've got some great news. I'm going to get to play a couple of songs from my debut album, Persistence of Vision, at the live music showcase at the Hard Rock Cafe here in Boston on December 6th. It's less than a month away, really exciting. There is a major label representative from the Universal Music Group coming down to check things out. Lots of great performers. It's a pretty big event, so I'm really excited to do that. I'm excited to share that with you. And to be perfectly honest, I'm a little nervous. Haven't done any performing like this in a really long time. So what I thought I would do is put together a short series of videos over the next couple of weeks, kind of documenting how I get ready for this. How do you prepare for something like that if maybe you're a little rusty or you just really want to make sure that you make a good impression? How do you do that? I got a bunch of steps that hopefully will help you guys out. I'm certainly hoping they're going to help me out. So let's get going. Let's just jump right into it. All right, so my first step in preparing for a gig like this is to start putting things down on a calendar. And some people think that might be a waste of time, but I find that if you don't actually mark the time down, you don't know really what you have. So, give you an example of what I'm talking about. We've got October, November, December, kind of lined up like this. Obviously, you can set it up however you want, but we got signed up to this gig about the last week of October, and of course the gig is on December 6th. So we're looking at that going, hey, that's great. That's a month away. No big deal, right? So, we start Xing off days as they go by, but one of the things that you kind of forget about is that we got Thanksgiving here in the middle of November. Well, that's obviously a day you're not going to work. Well, maybe not obviously, but it's a day I'm not going to work. So but then there's a couple of these other days here. We've got the 15th or the 29th. I'm not able to work either. So you start marking off those days in advance. Now you know what you've really got to work with. What you think is 30 days might actually only be 20. And that's important information to know at the beginning of a project. Not when you're scrambling trying to figure out, oh my God, how are we going to get these songs ready? The next thing that I'll put together is an editorial calendar, and it's basically just a way of reminding myself and organizing how I'm going to communicate with you guys, and the rest of my fans, and how is everybody going to get the information? What am I going to put out? How am I going to share it? When am I going to share it? These are all important details. I want you guys to be in the know. So I break it down, in terms of months and then weeks. And what I have here is just a due date. When do I want to finish this? And when am I going to release it? Those are not always the same dates. All right, so once I've got my calendar set up and I've figured out how and what and when I'm going to communicate with my fans about the event, the next thing that I want to do is I want to sit down and I want to create my goals for the show. Okay, I think it's a good idea that for every show you do, you have to have some kind of goal. You have to have something that you're trying to do, something musically, something with regards to image, something about maybe some new social media you want to capture. Do you want to videotape the show? Do you want to audio record the show? Whatever. Are there certain things that you want to prepare like download cards if you got an EP available or something like that, so that you can get more fans, more people to subscribe to your emailing lists and all that kind of stuff. You should have that kind of stuff prepared. It doesn't need to be fancy, but I would recommend writing it down. But if you kind of do the same sort of thing with all of your individual shows, focus on one or two things musically that you want to try to achieve, and that helps your band get better overall. It means you can put on better shows. Think about a couple of things image-wise or stage show-wise might be a better way to describe it. Maybe this is the show that you want to unveil a new banner or something to put behind your band while you're playing. Whatever it happens to be, but put it down. And then you can put that on the calendar that you've created, and now you've got a set of to-do lists that you can do to help make that move a little more smoothly. You know what you got to do, and you know when you've got to do it. So once that's done, then I can start working with the music. So notice so far all we've been doing is just a bunch of planning, right? And kind of working some things out. And I'm still doing a little bit of planning. And the next thing that I do, and I'm actually going to show you guys a scan of this too. This is a pretty good example right here. This is just the lyric sheet from a tune that we're going to be doing at the show called Who Am I? And, now I went to music school, so I mean, I know how to read and write music and do it in standard notation and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of rock guys don't. And, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Everybody works in different ways. And so my job is to be able to work in a lot of those different ways as well. So one of the things I did was I gave everybody a copy of the lyric sheet, although theirs is much cleaner than mine. It doesn't have all this notation on it. And what I did was I put specific marks on it. Down the column here, I've got marks for patch changes that I'll need to be doing on the guitar. All of this stuff here that is in red over here, these are things about drum rhythms. Okay, these are all indications about, cross stick, 16th note hi-hats, halftime, that kind of stuff. So that I know they kind of line up with each section. I know which section is supposed to sound like what. So that's kind of a cool thing here too. And then anything in yellow is stuff musically that I want to focus on for guitar, and anything in orange is stuff that I want to focus on for the bass. And so by mapping out the song like that, some of this stuff has some rhythmic ideas on it, or there's some chord ideas on this. And by mapping it out like this, I know what the actual tasks are to try to get that to work right. So now you can walk into the first rehearsal and you got a pretty good idea of what's going on. In my case, I'm kind of the musical director because I wrote all of these songs and the album's already recorded. These guys are coming in after the fact to learn the songs. So what I'm going to do is sit down with both of them at the start of the rehearsal, and I'm going to lead them through my roadmap. Now, if you work democratically, and everybody contributes to the song the way a lot of rock bands do, you might take a lyric sheet like this and get all of you in a room together, sit down listening to the song, record it at a rehearsal if you don't have a recorded version of it already. Just record it at a rehearsal and figure out what moments you want to fix, which things you want to tweak, who needs to do what where, and map it out as a band. But a lot of times I find bands, they know their songs, but they don't know their songs, if you know what I'm talking about. The transitions that end up never really getting fixed. You just kind of play over them because, it's just a couple of beats, and nobody really thinks of wanting to put in that kind of detail into it. But they're really important. And in this case, major label representative in the audience, you want to make sure that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. So this is how I set that up. So once again, that's the live music showcase at the Hard Rock Cafe here in Boston. That's December 6th. You can click the link below for tickets, and if you want to get a free download of one of the songs that's going to show up on stage that night that you're going to hear, you can click the other link below that. That's the KevinOMusicOnline.com link. We'll get you a free download of the song Who Am I that I was talking about right here. You get to hear that in advance, and hopefully we'll see a bunch of you guys there. And subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments. You want to hear something else. But that's it for this installment. I'll be coming in with another installment really soon. Take care.